Flosstube. My name is Alyssa Jones, and I am coming to you today with a bunch of cross-stitch updates from the past month and a half. I had high hopes last time I filmed of being a bit more regular and filming regular snippets. None of that happened, of course. So here we are today. It is a beautiful sunny day in upstate New York. This is, I think, our third or fourth sunny day, not consecutively, but pretty close, and everybody in the area is feeling a little bit more positive about most things, and you want to be outside, and I've even gotten to stitch out on my front porch, all those things that I look forward to every year. So I did less of a good job in February of keeping track of what I stitched, and honestly March hasn't been great either, but there were long stretches of days that I only worked on one thing and very little. I think winter got me down a little bit and I just wasn't feeling as stitchy. So I don't have clear records, and I have a pile here that I think is most of what I've worked on. I might have missed things, but I'll do my best. So let's get right into what I worked on. I've had 0 finishes except for one thing that I can't show yet. I did a small for the weekend one of Stitch North Smalls Exchange, but I'm not going to show it yet. And I even have like the finishing pieces all planned, and I'm like 1 or 2 steps away from completely done with my small already, which is really good because I didn't ever get around to doing one for the fall Stitch North. I still feel bad about that, but I did get this one stitched up nicely. I feel really good about it, and I can't wait to show it to you, but I'll have to save it for a later date because I don't want to show it before Stitch North. In my last video, I did share, though, that I was joining Emma X Stitching and Joe Belushi Stitches, the Sal Queens, on working on Greenhouse of Oddities. And I'm a little ahead still for now, but I had never fully finished the frame. And that is now done. So here is my Greenhouse of Oddities. And I think I have 3 or almost 4 plantings done. So I don't think I actually have to get this out until April or May again. But the frame is completely done now, all backstitched to that point. I just don't remember which planting this like brick planter was, because I think I'm still working in there. I don't think that's all done. I definitely haven't done any backstitch in there yet, which I know there was some. However, it's getting there. So that's all caught up for now. We'll see how quickly I fall behind on that. And I am just gonna grab randomly at this pile because I really just made a disgusting pile of projects here. I grabbed them and threw them on the floor. I'm also sitting in front of the radiator, which we heat our home with an outdoor wood furnace. And on these warm, sunnier days, this is the warmest place in the house. I had to switch to short sleeves, and I'm still questioning my filling location, but the light in this room is so happy right now. Okay, oh, I'm also filming on my phone. I got a new phone, and it has a lot more memory than my previous phone. I've been filming videos on my tablet, which really wasn't good enough to be filming from. So I'm hoping to be pretty successful with this method. We'll see how it goes. Okay, so a couple weekends ago, I have been dealing with some tendinitis of my left elbow caused by indoor golf. And so my husband and some friends were going to play indoor golf, and I wanted to go, but I didn't want to make my elbow worse because I was in some pretty good pain. And so instead I took a project, and I went upstairs in my whips and I looked through all of what I had, and I wanted something that would be easy to work on and not great lighting. And I ended up going with Tree of Magic, which is a Barbara Anna Designs, and it was kitted by Nitka Moscow. And I had been working on the lower section, and that is still where I am, but I did get quite a bit done that night. So when we were at the golf simulator, I think I did most of these flowers. This house wasn't there at all. A lot of these little things got finished up. And it was really fun to work on, and it made me kind of fall in love with it all over again. And then when I had little extra threads, I work more on finishing them up, working from the top down on this side. So it's starting to actually get the tree shape. And this is the bottom of the left side. So I'm almost done with one whole side, which I think we could technically say I'm 50% done, which is pretty exciting, but I haven't taken it back out since that night. I did also, for convenience purposes, stop storing it in its tube that it came in and put it in a project bag. But you can see like the pattern is in rough shape from living in the tube for so long. I probably won't try to work from a tube again, although I loved getting them in the mail originally. So there's Tree of Life and one day of progress on that. I was jumping all over between a lot of projects, but then I would get stuck on one. And one that I worked on most of the days since I last filmed is Winter Moon by Plum Street Samplers. And this became my lunch project for the past month. And I got a little bit further. It is a lot of stitches. This is dense. I know I finished this tree and this tree since I think I last filmed, and maybe this leaf, and then made a lot of rooftop progress. That's a lot of stitches. And I'm not done with the roof yet. It is beautiful and I love working on it. I just this week with the sunny weather, I was like, no, I am done with winter stitching. So this got switched out, as you will find out. I also really need to put it in a real project bag because, come on, Alyssa, you have project bags, really nice ones that people have sewn. You should put the project in that instead of carrying around this nasty plastic bag. Maybe I'll get there. This is definitely out of order because to end February, I managed to get out my Cherry Blossom by Carolyn Manning, and I think I'm going to consult my notebook. I don't think I had worked on it yet when I filmed my last Flosstube in January, or I had worked on it that day or was about to, because I spent a couple days finishing up my 800 stitches on Cherry Blossom, which was a leap year start for me in 2024. And I met my goal in January of getting to past 25%. So my goal is by the next leap year to have it finished by doing at least 25% a year. And so I've already done also my February stitches on this. And now you can see I found my way all the way to the left side. It's not little. These are much bigger than I had ever imagined them to be. But I do still love these colors so much. So much fun to work on. But after 800 straight stitches on it, I need a break. So this method for it is working out well for me. Oops. Sorry if you're listening with headphones, but I forgot to put the pattern back in the project bag. It's my Rai McGuy bag. One day he's gonna film a Flosstube. I just know it. All right, so then when I got mad at Winter Moon for being wintry and switched projects, it was just a couple of days ago. I'm gonna say Tuesday. I had gotten home from school and I just needed something that would be comfortable to work on in the sun. And I don't like working from a tablet using Pattern Keeper or anything in the sunshine. It's too hard for me to see it, the glare, and I'm taking my sunglasses on and off. And it's just frustrating. So I wanted a paper pattern. And then I went up into my whip pile and I found Flea Market Flowers by Lori Holt. And this I started a long time ago. And I thought I should work on that one. And I'm kind of mad at myself too because I had changed a color when I had started stitching it. I didn't keep the color in this bag. And now I don't know what color it was. I think I'm actually going to pick it out. But my buddy Tracy has been asking me for a stitchery for her craft room. And I thought this one would be perfect for her. And I double checked with her Tuesday night. I said, do you want this for your craft room when it's done? And she said, OMG, yes. And so I'm working on this for her. So this is now my lunch take anywhere project. And I've just done this bit and I finished this big center motif. It only had a little bit left and then extended the borders. But this is the yellow that I swapped out because I must have thought, oh, I need to brighten this up. And it was supposed to be this yellow color, which I think they call Daisy. And now I might wait until the end to see if I do need to unpick it because I don't hate this bright yellow, but am I gonna dislike it if it's the only place I used it? I have some hunches of where I grabbed that floss from for that flower. It might be worth checking. I'm not sure. But it's definitely not in this bag because I have the floss holder and it's not on here. However, I'm hoping to finish a couple motifs a week so I can get this to her by the time it is summer. It's also a lot of stitching though. Those flowers are hardy. One day I had a stitchy chat with my friends. I'm trying to remember who was at this one. I definitely know it was Kaylee Cross Stitch, Kaylee the Tiny Stitcher Cross Stitch, and who else was there that day? I know that there were people who wanted to be that couldn't be. I should write things down, but I don't. However, I sat and chatted for a couple hours and I grabbed out In the Library by Mojo Stitches. And I'm using the Cottage Garden thread pack for this. And I just think this is beautiful. I made a little bit of progress while I was chatting with my friends. I know I finished up some of these books in this pile. So I can get that in the camera. Like those colors are so happy. And worked on the potted plants. I think there was even one stitch in my Tiffany lampshade that needed to be done. And then maybe a little bit of this too. Oh, and I think that's a snail. I think I did a little bit of that. So little tiny bit of progress, probably not really worth showing, especially since I haven't even pulled this out to show before in a while. I had started this at Spring Stitch North last year and I loved working on it. Was it spring? No, I started this at fall. So really it's moving pretty quickly. I'll try to insert a picture of what it looks like done, but I'm sure many of you have seen it. And I don't know if you saw this, but Mojo Stitches came out with an In the Garden version of that. I really want to stitch that one too, but I'm gonna make myself finish this one before I do any more purchasing of those patterns and threads because you know, I can't have everything in progress. I have to finish things. In my last video, which was the January update, I had talked about wanting to start a modern folk embroidery, the Baldequin birdies, right? Which is the 2025 stitch along. And I did start it. I'm using a Roxy Floss linen 40 count. That was one of their club, one of the first, I think, clubs they did. I have not renewed my club, but I have major FOMO from not renewing it. I did the first 3 shipments of it and loved every one of them, but I was trying to make good financial decisions, which is hard. However, I'm just using 310 on this linen and it is giving like some major like boudoir theme like tones. I love it. It's really fun, but it kind of has like that very dark, almost burlesque feel to it. I'm not sure that's what Jacob intended when he made this pattern, but I do love it. I've had to frog. I had my border stitched all the way over to here. And then I realized I was off by 1 thread and I couldn't leave it because you know I would notice it every stitch I put under that border all the way across. I couldn't do it. So here it is. It doesn't move quickly. Darker linens are hard for me to see on, especially at a 40 count level, but I do love working on it. I'm also using a needle I only own one of. This was gifted to me by Rai Guy, I think at Jacob Palooza, and it's one of those, I think they're pony needles. It's a black matte needle, and it had white around the eye, and this linen has completely stripped all of the paint off the outside of it. And it's such a nice little petite size. I think that's why I'm enjoying working with it. I'm not sure I'm sold on the matte finish yet though, because I can feel that linen grabbing it, and it's not quite as smooth as I normally like stitches to feel. But I need to keep working on that. I'm gonna need to buy more 310 for it. I'm going through 310 like you wouldn't believe. I probably should buy a cone, but I haven't yet. I spent one morning with the owl stitcher, Karen. She had messaged me after my last video when I showed my fox finish, and she wanted to stitch another one together. And we had chosen the raccoon, and then the day of our, like the morning that we were supposed to hang out and chat, I couldn't find my raccoon pattern. I still have not found it, but I've done very little active looking since that morning. I bought these patterns as a subscription from the Silver Needle. I have them all, but I could not find my raccoon. So instead, Karen agreed that she also had the bear that she wanted to stitch. And so I pulled out my bear, and while we were chatting, I got a little start on it. And since the day we started it, I've not had time, and I really need to buy some of these colors because I'm somehow missing these DMC colors. But I managed to get the cattails stitched and just a little top of one. And I have the needle still threaded because that green continues down. And my plan is to try to finish that up, at least that side, and then make sure I get those colors kitted up. And I also have in this bag a bunch of greens that I was considering for the raccoon. And what I'm stitching the bear on is a piece of Roxy linen. It's 40 count turtle dove that I had gotten as a, like they'll have sale linens at Stitch North events that like have misdye. So you can see this one's got some blue on it. And like even here on the side, there's a little dot of blue. Maybe that's just showing through. Maybe there's nothing wrong with the section I'm using. Yeah, so if there's something wrong with the cup, they discount it. But it completely works for me. And I honestly don't even mind that little bit of color on there. I'm sure I'll use it for something and not mind the blue at all. However, tiny little start, and I had a really nice time chatting with Karen that morning. It was a nice way to start a Sunday. And now I need to catch up because she's a fast stitcher and I'm sure I'm very, very far behind. But it was so sweet of her to want to join me. I was trying to finish things, and my friend Crafty Whitney showed off one day in our group chat that she was working on our Funky Chickens by Satsuma Street. And I was like, I should work on those because we started those last spring. And I really do want to finish them, like do the sewing part and like see how it comes together. And I haven't yet finished them. So I had finished the What the Cluck one. So that one's all stitched. And then this one it's the O for Cluck's Sake. And I had not finished that. So I finished this one. And now I also have a good start on the Guess What Chicken Butt one. So I am nearing the end of this project, which is fabulous because did you see the new bird Satsuma Street came out with? I want to stitch those, and I really want to put feathers on them, like real feathers, like floof. That's what I want. So I have to finish my chickens first, and then I'll know how to sew the birds better too. And also in this bag, this is a really fabulous project folder that is Apollo's bed. He thinks that this was made for him. It has so much cat fur on it. Sorry, Wit, but Apollo is convinced this is his cat bed. And he just wraps his paws around it and hugs it while he sleeps. Also in here, there was another project we started last spring, which was Love Games by Modern Folk Embroidery. And this is being stitched on a cut of linen that I believe was a one-of-a-kind from Color and Cotton that Whitney brought us. And she had bought a hank of this color thread, and we're using a portion of that hank. And I finished stitching the motifs around the top. And then I started like a few stitches, and I think I have to take them out because I'm so unhappy with them, of the over one for the words. And it's beautiful. The quote in here is beautiful. Force may subdue, but love gains. And he that forgives first wins the laurel. Beautiful. I'm not loving the stitching over one right now. So I have a couple choices. I have to unpick this because the stitches are uneven and I'm not happy with them. Like if I hold it up close, you can probably see that the quality of those stitches is just, ugh. So I'm gonna take those out and retry. I think what would help though is if I put it in at least a nudge to help with the tension, because, that's terrible. I have to redo. The rest of the stitches I think look really good, like the over 2 work. So then if I don't get the over 1 looking better, my other thought would be to simplify the quote and just do it over 2 bigger words. So maybe I might just have to change the words. I also could continue working on the Quakers around, but my very particular brain has a hard time doing that because I'm like, oh, but what about the whole middle? But it would be a good way to make progress while still making a decision. So we shall see. And that is all I have in this bag right now. And lots of floss from these projects, but that's it. So that was worked on a couple times, which is fun. We had some sunny days. Might have been at the end of last week, maybe it's still this week, I don't know. And I grabbed out Queen Bee by Yasmin's Made with Love. And this is a project I had seen someone working on at Spring Stitch North last year. And I fell completely in love. I'm stitching it with the called for DMC on this piece of Flamingo medium color and cotton, hole punched by Apollo. And this is getting really close to completed. We're past the halfway point, and I just think it's beautiful. It is so fun to stitch. My bee legs are so close to done. My random letters are almost done. I just have that whole bottom border of the motifs to do. I love this. Like, I don't know if I can do the color justice in this room because it's a little brighter than it's showing. Let's see if I fuss with it. I don't know, but it's happy no matter like what the lighting is. It is such a happy stitch. When I met the person who was stitching this at Stitch North, she said, you can just tell that the person who designed this stitches because it stitches so nicely. And I think that is so accurate. This stitches beautifully. I highly recommend her pattern. And then she has a few others that are like this, but the bee on this pink fabric, oh, it just got me. So yesterday I thought, ooh, I've been working on all these great projects. I'm gonna work on none of those. And I'm gonna pull out Sunflower Cottage. And I made a tiny bit more progress on it, which I thought was exciting. And I think I did like maybe 300 stitches last night. But they were important stitches because they finished up the chimney. And I started bringing down some more of that dark color into the house and wrapping that around. And I started adding some blue, and some light blue is in there too. It's just coming along really nicely. And it is really fun to stitch. I wonder how Darcy's doing on his. Darcy, are you done yet? Have you picked yours back up again? Probably not. He's too busy designing awesome patterns and dyeing fabrics. Wonder if Emma's pulled hers out. She had a goal for it this year too. Emma, are you working on this? I don't know. And then in the past month, I also got an idea to design my own pattern. And then I spent like an entire day dealing with the fact that my laptop is completely obsolete and still trying to use design software on it and make a pattern. And I'll insert a picture of my mock-up design, but I wanted something to stitch for the masters. And I'm attending at least one major this year, major golf tournament. I'm going to Northern Ireland for the Open. I also, because it's only happening a few hours from my home, I'd like to attend the US Open. So my thought is I'd like to make these designs for the majors because there's just there's honestly, from what I've looked for, there's not many golf stitching options out there. And I'm sure there's a whole world of stitchers wishing they were stitching golf right now. So I did start stitching my own design, and I'm missing colors and I need to deal with that. But this is a nice selection of trees and tree trunks that are behind the green on hole 12 at Augusta National. So maybe coming soon to an Etsy shop near you will be some really great golf patterns. And let me know if you've been noticing a lack in the stitching market for golf patterns too, because even if you're not a golfer, watching the Masters is one of the most beautiful television events that happens. The flowers on that golf course, the green of the grass, oh, it's just beautiful. And I was trying to emulate that in this design. Just getting some of those bright colors and happy stitching in there. Seemed like a great way to celebrate spring. So that's really what I've been up to. I don't have any big plans for the rest of March. I need to figure out my table gifts and gifts for my friends attending. I have some ideas, but I haven't committed to anything yet, and it's time. And otherwise, I'm just gonna keep working on what I feel like working on when I work on it. That's it. That's all I got. And now I think it's time to go out and enjoy some of the sunshine that we've got while we have it, because I looked ahead at the next month's potential forecast and there's a lot of rain like usual around here. But maybe we'll get some extra sunny days because they're the best. I hope it's sunny where you are if you like sunshine. If you prefer clouds, I hope it's cloudy for you. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day, and thanks for watching my stitching update. Talk to you soon. Bye.